season 4, I still did not audition for American Idol, and here's why. There was an earthly boundary that had been around me for a long time that made me not want to audition. That earthly boundary is my weight. I have struggled with my weight my entire life. It has been the one thing that I felt like I could not overcome. So that was an earthly boundary that had me bound for a long time. But y'all, this is where God's boundaries come into play. I've learned that I have to replace those earthly boundaries with what God says. And while the earthly boundary and while the Simon Cowells of the world would say that I'm too fat, that I do not fit on the American Idol stage, they would tell me that I don't belong up there, God's boundary tells me that I am fearfully and wonderfully made. God's boundary tells me, amen. God's boundary, ladies, this one is especially for you. God's boundary tells me that I have an unfading beauty that nobody can take away from me. It tells me that it is the kind of beauty that the world can see but may not even recognize. God's boundary tells me that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So instead of looking to those earthly boundaries to define me, I decided I'm going to look to God's boundaries to define me. So I auditioned for the 5th season of American Idol, and as you can see, 8 years, a loss of about 100 pounds, 4 albums, and now 2 Grammy Awards later, I can honestly tell you that earthly boundaries make us feel overwhelmed, but God's boundaries make us overcomers.
Hey, what's your name?
Mandisa.
Mandisa what?
Just Mandisa.
Just Mandisa.
The first name is enough to deal with, I think.
All right, so what are you going to sing?
I can do Fallin'.
All right.
All right, here we go.
I keep on falling in love with you. Sometimes I love you.
Woo! Get down, Mandy.
Simon was rocking.
Terrific. I mean, everything I hoped you would be, you were on that,
Thank
Mandisa.
you.
And I like the fact that you want to be known as one person.
I'm supposing we can all say together on a count of 3.
1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Yes! Welcome to Hollywood. Welcome to Hollywood. Show and prove in Hollywood.
Even though the judges got what they wanted, Simon still had to get in one last typical comment.
Did we have a bigger stage this year?
Oh, come on.
Well, you didn't need a bigger stage, but you could have got a bigger chair. Simon, a lot of people want me to say a lot of things to you. But this is what I want to say to you, is that, yes, you hurt me, and I cried, and it was painful. It really was. But I want you to know that I've forgiven you, and that you don't need someone to apologize in order to forgive somebody. And I figured that if Jesus could die so that all of my wrongs could be forgiven, I can certainly extend that same grace to you. So I just wanted you to know.
Amen.
Mandisa, I'm humbled. Come here, give me a kiss.
Yeah.
Come here.
Well put.
Give me a kiss. I'm just so appalling, aren't I?
You are, but
Well, we like
you're
each other
coming.
now.
Mandisa,
Yes.
aren't you glad I sit next to him? I could stomp him, sock him, and do everything.
Paula, what would I do without
I now
you?
feel 1 millimeter small, so I'll carry on with, with what I'm supposed to be doing. And I am sorry to tell you, you are going to have to go through this again because you're through to the next.
Oh, thank you so much.
I love your speech. I love speech.
Thank you, Randy.
I loved your speech. You said the right thing to him. Said the right thing to him.
Thank you. You want another one?
We're sort of dating now.
And Simon also apologized.
We're sort of
Say, I'm
dating.
sorry, Simon. Say, I'm sorry.
You're not my
And
type.
Mandisa, I think,
Yeah, say, I'm sorry, Simon.
You're not her type, I love it.
Yeah.
and Mandisa, I do apologize.
Oh, finally, I heard it. Wow, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, y'all. 8 years, a loss of about 100 pounds, 4 albums, and now 2 Grammy Awards later, I can honestly tell you that earthly boundaries make us feel overwhelmed, but God's boundaries make us overcomers.